To me, Fethullah Gulen is a spokesman for peace and moderation at a time when both are severely threatened. The Hizmet movement is criticized, and I center. My name is Gregory Rieke. I live in Overland Park, Kansas. About 10 years ago, a gentleman that had become active in the movement in Kansas City, Fethullah Gülen, invited me to an interfaith dinner, and at that time said that he'd like to be in touch with me, and we met about 3 months later and had a nice lunch together, and I was quite impressed with the goals and aims of the movement, and we became friends, and he invited me to take a turkey trip. So that's how I first became involved. I think the Hizmet movement is very important right now. Not only does it do worthwhile projects not only in this country and in Turkey, but in many other countries. And it's a wonderful opportunity for people to get to know people of other cultures and other religions. That's what drew me into it, is the chance to expand my own faith tradition. I'm a Christian, but also to meet people from Islam and Judaism and many other religions. To me, Fethullah Gülen is a spokesman for peace and moderation at a time when both are severely threatened. He has put his life on the line in many ways, speaking up for the best tradition of within Islam, of course, and has asked that people of all religious traditions learn to speak with one another with respect and show dignity to one another. And to me, that's a vital, important thing right now. There are many examples of the Gulen movement and Hizmet movement, as it's now called. Not only the relief of refugees in many parts of the world through the Kimse Yokmu organization. There are schools in many, many countries. And of course, here in the United States, where I'm most familiar and live, there's the opportunity to have interfaith dialogue. So it's all good at this time. To me, the Hizmet movement represents the very best traditions of Islam at a time when there are many people in the world, in the Middle East, certainly in Africa and other places, that are threatened by extremism. And Mr. Gülen and the Hizmet movement that he has inspired have a long tradition of moderation and respect for other people. So to me, what draws me into sympathy with the aims of the movement is the approach of respect and human dignity that it always embodies. I've never seen it fail to meet up to that challenge. And at a time when our country and others are waging war, the people in the Hizmet movement are aggressively waging peace. So to me, that's big news and something I want to be part of. Well, there are many civil movements that deserve respect and admiration and active support, and many that I support as well. This one, I think, is somewhat unique in that it focuses on the opportunities for people to bridge what we think are boundaries that separate us. And of course, what we've learned in recent years from science and other fields is that we as human beings have much more in common than we do that divides us. So to me, the Hizmet movement, which is spiritually oriented and not politically, is one that seeks to find commonalities and bridge people to one another, as opposed to focus on divisions and further divide people who tend to be divided anyway. The interfaith activities within the Hizmet movement, to me, are its vital center. Dialogue is something that we do by activating, not only expressing our own views of spirituality, but it challenges us to listen with reverence and respect to others whose views are tempered by their own religious training and experience and education and background, cultural background. They're all different, they're all unique to that human being, and the Hizmet movement urges us and challenges us to respect those differences, not to challenge them, but to hear them, and frankly, to celebrate them. It's a celebration of our diversity that is so at the core of Hizmet, and then beyond that, to challenge us to action that peacemaking compels us to do. Regarding the Hizmet schools around the world, I think they operate in 160 countries. That is the very best aspect of the action phase of Hizmet. It's one thing to respect and to listen and to dialogue. It's quite another to actively engage people, especially young, impressionable people who are just forming their spiritual life and their educational lives, to do so in an environment and encouragement to respect and to love people. I was privileged in my trips to Turkey, for example, to witness some of the high schools and universities there that have been inspired by this movement. And aside from being well trained in the sciences and arts, the students receive a very strong moral training, not so much by sitting in a morals class, or certainly not in a religion class, but it's the way that they're treated by their teachers and professors that they learn this vital component of interfaith and intercultural respect and appreciation. So it's modeled for them. It's not just preached to them. Well, again, charity activities and reaching out to people in dire need are a treasured jewel within the Hizmet movement. Hizmet means service, and aside from dialogue and education, they also hope to meet the needs of those who are in desperate situations, and there's certainly a growing need for that, not only in the area of Turkey but throughout the world. People that have been inspired to activity in their own lives do so because they know that they have an inner gift to give people and humanity, and it's not something that you're compelled to do or required to do. The attitude that people that are genuinely part of the Hizmet movement, in my experience, is that they seek to do what's within them and their abilities and their life's purpose to reach out and benefit other people who are less fortunate from them. So it really is a service-centered movement, not out of requirement, out of genuine compassion and desire to help other people. Oddly and ironically, the Hizmet movement is criticized, and I think to many it seems to be too good to be true. But I think the skeptics should spend a little more time really looking into the eyes of those who are involved in it. And they'll find that people are not drawn to it for less than good motives. 10 years ago, when I first met my friend Fatih, I don't even know where Fatih is now. I think he's in another state, but I haven't seen him for a few years. I had never met a Muslim person before that. I was suspicious, skeptical, curious about his motives, about reaching out to me. But I decided to accept that challenge and just go with it. And he turned out to be a very good friend. And he introduced me to other wonderful people. So, and frankly, one of the things that I've begun to appreciate through my association with people in Hizmet has been the way they practice their own religious tradition in a way quite different from my own experience. You know, Christians tend to celebrate or worship once a week at best, and sometimes on holidays, and we hope between the services they put their religion to good use. What I've begun to appreciate from my Muslim friends is that their spiritual life is reinforced every few hours, 5 times a day, in a very overt, devoted and devout way. So I've learned from them the power of their religious conviction and devotion in their spiritual life. Not that I emulate it or do it myself, but it's something that I think is worthy of great respect and emulation in some ways. I've been asked about my anecdotes from my Turkey trip. There are so many of them. I've been to Turkey actually 3 times now. Once with my wife and twice alone, but with groups. Each time the Turkey trips have involved people of diverse backgrounds and experiences, people quite unlike myself, and quite frankly, some people I didn't really think that I would even have a good time with. And on a Turkey trip, you're pretty intimately in close proximity with people in buses and tour groups and airplanes and people's homes, so you get to know these people pretty well in 10 days. I think the experience that I had that is most impressive was the wonderful hospitality and genuine outreach of the Turkish people. This helped me understand the heart and soul of Islam, gratitude and graciousness. And until you really experience that and feel it in someone's living room, dining with them as a honored guest, you can't really appreciate that feeling of hospitality and gratitude. So obviously we touched not only people's homes, we touched businesses and schools and universities and hospitals and all kinds of different social and civic engagement. So it was a wonderful opportunity to witness the culture as well as the social life of Turkey. And of course, Turkey is filled with history. I came to Turkey expecting to learn a lot about Islam. Turns out I learned a lot about my own religion that I didn't expect to learn too, because so much of early Christian history took place in Anatolia.
Hizmet attempts to bring people together who would otherwise not ever come into contact and give them the opportunities to see one another's humanity.
I would think that the thing that most appeals to me as contributing to the common good that I have observed from my contact with the Hizmet movement is the fact that they're trying in a world that is very divided and very intolerant to be accepting and tolerant of all people.